Goldner turns around and says, I want to be very clear. I have no problem with your sexuality. This is
homophobe!
It's not a homophobe thing.
Both of the gay ones. I'm sorry.
Honest, to be clear, I am very socially liberal. I am fiscally conservative. I'm a libertarian. I am a libertarian.
Of course you're a libertarian.
So convenient for you.
What? Everyone should be free to do what they want. I should be free to collect gold and destroy, and you should be free to try and run away. This is a cogent political philosophy.
An old-timey prospector who's getting into cryptocurrency.
Hey, you listen here. I may have lost part of my brain in a Wolverine attack, but I know one thing and one thing for sure, and that is the blockchain is the future of currency. You think, fiat currency, you want state-backed dollars. What could be better than a completely unaccountable system of absolute strangers and con artists assembled together in a bizarre crypto-fascist commune? We already know that these currencies are being used to fund neo-Nazi and far-right organizations. If you're legitimately considering using these things, there's something fucking wrong with you.
I'm gonna cut you off before
there's something fucking wrong
is gonna become.
Where's the
They're called the Cubbies. It's the Cubby family.
Very cute.
Bud Cubby speaks up and says, now the problem, of course, that you go to the cops is that there's just no counting on them to do the right thing. And now there are some good cops, of course, but mostly police are enforcing the status quo, right? And that's mostly going to benefit the people who are already in power.
Global warming is a hoax. It's a hoax.
You fucking Tea Party dickhead.
Hey! My belief in smaller government means I also don't believe scientists. Fuck you. That philosophy is cogent and lucid. And then just one guy's like, the thing people don't know about being a man is this.
Yeah,
and you're like,
right.
oh God, no.
No one understands what it's like to be a man.
Isn't it? I guess we might get in trouble from some assholes out there, but that men's rights movement is ridiculous.
I don't care if I get in trouble. Hey guys, you can come find me.
Yeah, come find me.
We can hash it out, man.
Yeah,
if you
actually,
feel like you're.
Yeah. This would be a good time to plug our live reading of our pilot. We wrote a pilot together, and we are reading it at Videology in Williamsburg.
July 10th.
If you live in New York, you should come see that. And if you're part of the men's rights movement, you should come and gun us down.
Yeah. I remember a guy being like, you're working in a coffee shop somewhere, and you got to think that's not a career. You got to do that. And I remember talking to the guy and being like, so do you think no one should work in a coffee shop? And he was like, I wouldn't. And I was like, but I'm asking you, do you think coffee shops shouldn't exist? And he was like, no, I love coffee. And I was like, so you're bad.
Yeah.
Do you see that you are saying it should exist, and if you want it to exist, you should want it to be that anyone who works there, because again, we're agreeing it's good and necessary.
Yeah.
Coffee shops are actually better than what you do. It's better to pour a cup of coffee than whatever fucking thing you do all day. Right? That's a nice, cool thing to do that's good to do, is to make a good cup of coffee. So someone doing that should live in dignity and comfort and safety, right? We all think that is true. And the idea that he was like, no, it should exist and it should hurt and be bad to do it. This week on This American Life, we interview the powerful and rich that answer to no one! No one! Fucking no one! No.
First of all, I dislike the weird libertarian values of that 10-year shift, making, what's wrong with communism? Yeah, okay, we're all a big family, great. Yeah, we're all passengers on Spaceship Earth, go fuck yourself. That's just me.
It has to...
We're writing a bunch of racist inflammatory
No, they'll cast me on SNL!
For he's a jolly good fellow, for he's a jolly good fellow, for he's a jolly good fellow, which no one can deny.
You see, Bud says,
Yeah, and the problem here is, of course, if you go to the cops, right, and you get a real snake, then all of a sudden he's going to get his buddies on the inside. They're going to hold that thin blue line there, and you're going to be in a whole heap and helping of trouble.
You guys are just so innocent, and everything you're saying just feels like it shouldn't come out of your mouth.
You see that the Bud and Dace look at each other and say, listen, we're law-abiding citizens, all right? We don't belong to the Thieves Guild. We're not any kind of, nothing to be worried about. You see that Bud says, now, what you could do is you could make an anonymous call to the cops, right? You get one of them to show up and you bag him, right? Throw a sack over his head real quick.
We're not gonna.
I think it's cool that these halflings are anarcho-socialists. I think it's very cool.
Yeah, that's what I'm definitely sitting here thinking.
Sorry, are you suggesting?
I'm not advocating that you kill a cop, all right? I'm not advocating that you put a
Lord.
pig down. I'm saying what you should do.
Okay. All right. Well, my mother is a cop, good sir.
All right, well, that's...
Thank you so much for these
Thank you
ice
for
creams.
the ice
And sorry, and for picking us up on the side of the road.
I
We
kind of
really
agree with you, though.
You see, he looks over and he says, well, I hope you kiddos enjoy the ice cream. That's on us, of course.
No.
I'm
Here,
sorry.
sir.
I have to, I don't mean to, I got to insist, all right? You guys flip that car, and I just want you to know that I'll be dead in the ground before I say something to anybody, all right?
You're in for murder, huh?
Yeah. They locked me up forever. No parole. No chance of getting out.
That's rough.
I didn't do it.
Why are you in here?
Who am I? The trial. They convicted me of... Do you think that every person that goes to jail is guilty and that trials are retroactively make things true? That's crazy. Crazy thing.
Yeah, but I knew I didn't do it.
Great to know, because perhaps someday we might need someone who's connected like you.
All right, that's for sure. Take it down from the inside. All right, later, guys.
Bye. Take it down from the inside.
If I can get very cynical for a second, I would also say that mostly people are not motivated by ideological codes.
Yeah,
people
okay,
are
yeah.
motivated by impulse and construct ideological codes to justify and rationalize what they were already going to do. Maybe that's too cynical, but that's
No,
what I
that's
think.
that's what it should be too, and that's where yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway.
Bonds, Flaws, and Ideals is actually kind of truthful. Because an old professor of mine had this great thing he said, on the level of individuals and civilizations, personality predates ideology. Meaning, before you were a fascist, you were a bully and an asshole. Right? In other words, what we talk about as philosophy or ideology is really, again, it's a little scaffolding you're putting on the outside of who you are.
Right.
And I think that's kind of critical.
You hear something in your mind, Fame, you've been here for a long time, you hear a little, and you hear a voice out in the sort of cop area. They have not been in here in a while. They've been disallowed from interacting with you guys. You hear a voice outside be like, hey there, guys, how's it going? Everyone doing good in here? Great. You see it says, just got some mail, some deliveries here. And you hear some sort of parcels being passed out. Walking down the hall of the jail cell, you see a little halfling postman with little shorts and a shirt and one of those little like pith helmets.
Hello, sir. Remember us?
Oh gosh there, gang. How's it going?
Fed's got us in here.
Yeah,
I
man.
know
The
you hate
pigs
the
got
feds. You're the guy from the
ice
ice
cream
cream
From
store.
the restaurant. I picked you guys up in the car. How's it going, guys? The kids miss you. We're at the Lady Pep and everybody says hi. Daisy sends her best.
Do you know why we're in here? Remember that guy who almost killed you and your family in the car, and then we took care of him? Mm-hmm. They got us in there for that.
What? You see, he winks at you and says, sweetheart, you don't gotta sweet talk me. We like you kids. We think you're all right. And the hangman already explained everything to us.
What's the hangman?
You see, he says, listen, here's the thing. I don't know what you kids are up to, but I do know one thing. Laws are threats made by the dominant socioeconomic ethnic group in a given nation. It's just a promise of violence that's enacted, and police are basically an occupying army. You know what I mean? You guys want to make some bacon? He pulls a mask over his face, pulls a lit Molotov cocktail out of his mailbag, and
That That was on fire the whole time?
Hold on, kiddo!
You're so brave!
He goes, boom, hits the lock, opens the jail cell. You see the halflings with like black ski masks repel in, just start opening fires, smashing.
Oh yeah, my mom works here. A lot of these people are good people.
Let's make some